Good evening. My name is David Johnson. I'd like to give you a little talk on some beginner steps for learning the mandolin. So first I'm going to walk you through the parts of the mandolin, and then choices of picks, how to tune the mandolin, how to find chords and manage the fretboard, and then finally playing notes in several different styles. So let's begin with the mandolin itself. It is a stringed instrument in the lute family, closely related to the violin and the guitar. It is played like a guitar because it has a fretboard and you play it using a plectrum, but it has a similar build and the same tuning as a violin. It also has the same number of distinct notes, distinct open notes as a violin, and they are the same tuning, G, D, A, and E. However, a mandolin has 8 strings, as you will see. Now, the way their strings are arranged, they are in 4 courses. Each course is a pair of strings tuned to the same note. Starting from the bottom, we have G, D, A, and E. And so that makes the mandolin tuning pretty hard. So to save us some time, I've already tuned this mandolin. Let me show you the notes that we play. So I've got my keyboard set on pipe organ so we can sustain the notes. There's a G. It's the G below middle C. Going up a fifth to a D. Going up another fifth to an A. And then finally going up another fifth to the E. And since the intervals between each string is the same, you can simply find the next string's value by going up 7 frets, which is the same number of steps as a fifth, to find the note of the same string. So if I wanted to find a D on a G, I just go up to the 7th fret. Let's see, here's a G, here's a D, and there's my D on the next string. Alrighty. Now, when it comes to picks, you can play with any manner of picks. There are some picks that are specifically made for mandolins, but I find you can use just about anything. This is one of my more thin picks. This is 1mm. I use this for strumming. It's the same pick that I use for a guitar. And this is a 3mm bass pick. It's a little bit sharper, and you can get a lot more loud notes with this. Let me give you an example. Play something with this pick. So, when it comes to picking styles, we have regular strumming, which you just saw, alternate picking, which is where you play starting from one side of the course and then starting from the other side of the course. So, but then there's also tremolo picking, which is important for mandolin because since the mandolin is such a small-bodied instrument, notes cannot resonate for very long. So if we want to extend a note, we have to keep playing it over and over again. And a way to make that sound smooth is to play a note very quietly, very quickly, and to make sure that you're playing the same note the whole time. So here's a good example of me using tremolo on a note up here. Alrighty. And then finally, when it comes to chords, there's 2 main types of chords. There are open chords, which are chords that involve open notes. For example, here is a G. The G and D strings are both open. Now these notes, or these chords, are a lot easier to play, and you can move between them a lot faster. However, there's another style of chord which is much more which allows for greater dynamic control, and these are called chop chords. The rule for these is you can't have any open notes, so you got to make sure that you've got fingers on all of your strings, and you dampen these notes by lifting your strings up off the fretboard a bit. Let's see if I can get a view of that. So, right now my strings aren't pressing down, so if I play this, it's going to be dampened. That's a muted sound, but if I hold them down, we can sound it out. So then we can use my left hand to control the dynamics, while the right hand can just play continuously, like this. Alright, so those are some styles that you can use to play mandolin. Finally, the last important part of learning mandolin is learning how to read tab, which is common notation for learning how to read individual mandolin notes. I've prepared a separate presentation that uses PowerPoint for this, so there's going to be an abrupt cut. Wait for it. Wait for it. My name is David Johnson. Today I'd like to give you a little guide about how to read tabs for mandolin. So here's one. This one is a chord progression in the key of G. It's a G major, C major, E minor, D major. Very common. The way we read tabs is we go from left to right. The ones that we play first are on the left, and then the notes that we play last are on the right. If they occur vertically spaced up like this, and that means we play them at the same time, so that's a chord. And then each line represents one course on the mandolin. And then the numbers represent which fret number we're playing on. The zeros mean we're playing an open string, the 2 and the 3, in this case, mean that we are playing behind the 2nd and 3rd frets. So let's see what that looks like on the mandolin itself. So for the G, we have 0, 0, 2, and 3. That means we go 0, 0, 2, and 3. These notes are G, D, B, and G, which are all notes in the G major chord. Let's have a look at our next chord, which is a C major. We have 5, 2, 3, and 0. So starting from the G here, we got the 5th fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, and an open string on E, and C, E, C, and E are all notes in the C major chord. So that works. Next up, we have an E minor. For this one, we go 4, 2, 2, 0. So we're going to count up to the 4th fret on the G string here. There we go. And then the 2nd on the D, the 2nd on A, and then an open string on E. One case I didn't mention quite yet was if we have an X. An X means that you just don't play any note on that particular string. It usually means that you have to mute it. The way that you would play that on a mandolin is you just hold a finger over the string without pressing down, and that'll keep it from making any sound. And our last chord here is going to be a D major. We have 2, 0, 0, and 2. So that's 2, 0, 0, 2. And that's what an easy chord. That's only 2 strings. Okay, so once we've done all that, we know how to play all the chords in our chord progression. We know which order to play them in. We start with the 1, furthest on the left, this G here, then the C, then the E minor, then the D. There we go. And more complicated tabs will have individual notes. They will have more complex strumming patterns, but this is the basics of how you get started. Have fun with this information, and I really hope that you have an excellent time playing mandolin if you ever get the chance to. I appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day.